Hey there, good morning. It is 9 a.m. Eastern time. No, not Eastern, what the heck am I talking about? I'm in Mountain Time. I move so much, I forget what time zone I'm in. I'm over here in Wyoming, and I'm heading into Salt Lake City, Utah, well, West Valley City, to do a delivery. It's 131 miles away. We're at 78 degrees Fahrenheit. The weather is good. Let's roll. I'll take you with me the whole way. It's going to be a longer video today. Mostly just because I want to. Let's go. That place we just passed, we're parked in, it's called the Cowboy Cafe. It's pretty decent. The folks are really nice. AC on a little bit. Clouds out today, but there's no thunderstorms rolling through, so it's not as pretty out, but also not as dangerous. So I'll take it. Now we're at mile marker 40 here. Only roughly 40 miles or so until we hit the mountains, the big mountains of Utah. You'll like them. They're nice. We gotta head through Evanston and all that stuff. We just got a fleet-wide pay raise at my company, second one in 3 months, which is wild. Because the first one was a couple months ago, and that was 3 cents per mile, and that's the biggest raise we've gotten in a long time. And we were all pretty stoked, collectively. More money is more better. That's math, science even. Scientifically is a better thing. And then today they sent a message just saying, hey, starting next month, everyone's getting a 4 cent per mile pay raise on all those ran after that point. That's pretty sweet. Best news I've ever woken up to recently. Apparently Crete's over here cooking with gas, you know what I mean? Like, we're moving along. day, right around mile marker 290, 300, something like that. And we're at mile marker 38 now. And you might be wondering, like, oh man, Josh, I wish you would have recorded all 360 something miles of Wyoming along the I. This is it. This is it right here. There's a lot better views looking south. You see the mountains over there with some clouds hanging over it. But you'll just have to take my word for it. It's pretty sweet looking over there. But mostly this is what you're looking at as you drive forward. A bunch of windmills and a lot of hills. Some of that desert grass. And desert grass, shrubbery, old snow fences. Sometimes you'll even see new snow fences. Pretty exciting. Pretty exciting stuff. It's good out here. Keys are jangling. I threw those in this book bag. There we go. There we go. And a few more months, not that long away, a lot of truck drivers will start sliding off the road right like throughout these parts. There's some dangerous roads in the winter. I mean, they're not bad if you do it right and if you're a little lucky. You can hold her steady. Hold her steady, you're good to go. I'll be recording through here in the winter, so you'll see. But a lot of folks get blown off the road during the big storms, or not the big storms. Just a lot of wind. Then when the ice gets introduced, it's even worse. It's just bad. It's bad stuff. I'm in a love-hate relationship with Wyoming professionally. Like, I'd love to hate it, you know what I mean? But it is pretty. I think the northwest of Wyoming, they have the Bridger National Forest, and that is one of the prettiest things around here. And then if you keep going northwest, you'll eventually run into Yellowstone, and that is amazing. That place is awesome. I highly suggest getting an RV, hopping in it, and visiting. It's beautiful. Just don't go during the winter. There's a bunch of avalanches and stuff. But this time of year, you're good to go. Go and see it. See the national parks in this area. They're so amazing. Many moons ago, for me anyways, well, it had to be 18, 19 years ago, so some time. I used to work in the North Rim Grand Canyon Lodge. I was a prep chef, prep cook, you know? Prepped all the stuff. Did the buffets. That place was pretty cool. The dining room, I don't know how it is now. It burned down a few years ago and they rebuilt it. They said they're rebuilding or they have rebuilt it. The dining room was like floor-to-ceiling windows that looked over the Grand Canyon, and it was breathtaking. Both literally and figuratively. You're so high up, it is hard to breathe. But also, the vista was amazing. But you know, you see something every day. For a few weeks, you get used to it. But it was still pretty awesome. Those were good times, man. They weren't paying us nothing. We worked like dogs, but you know what? It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends. Made a lot of foreign exchange. Come in on work visas, work here, get to see the country, and get paid to do it. That's a pretty sweet gig. That's how I traveled around a lot, grabbing work when I was younger. Saw a lot of cool stuff. Met a lot of really cool people. really kept up with it though. I don't know what happened to that. That was definitely a me problem. When I first started driving, there wasn't nothing down here. I remember once you got out of Cheyenne, you headed west, you didn't have cell phone until Evanston, and then it cut out again until you hit Salt Lake City. And now you got Verizon signal the whole way through, 5G, which is wild. It's wild. Crazy to see it all change. Coming up here in about 30 miles is the mountain passes to get into Salt Lake. And it's some of my favorite mountain passes, both the 80 and the 84. We'll be taking the 80. But I do believe I'm picking up in Ogden. And I'm not going to lie to you, I forget, I think Ogden's north? If it's north, we'll take the 84 back, and I'll show you the other mountain pass. But if it's south, we're taking the 80. I'm running low on hours for the amount of miles I have to drive. I'll be picking up in Ogden, Utah, and heading over to, I think Monroe, Ohio. I could be wrong. Could be wrong about the city, but it is Ohio. They all blend together after a while. Try to get past this man. I have my doubts, but I also have my confidence. So let's see which one was correct. Oh yeah. I should have listened to my doubts. Want to see a big hill? Well, that's too bad. You're going to see one anyways. gotta slow her down a little bit. I think this is the big hill. Pretty sure. Hold on, let me look at it first and I'll talk to you with confidence. Yeah, it's a big hill. Yeah, like I said, I had no doubts whatsoever. Check this out. See that? Isn't that wild? You know, when I first started driving, let's change that story. I heard about a guy who, when he first started driving, he took this hill and he got up to over 100 miles an hour in a truck that went only 62. That guy's a psychopath. Yeah, I was like, I think he told me it was like 100, 107, 108 he got going down that hill, this hill right here. I don't know who would do that. But anyways, they started tracking everyone's speed in company trucks. This was a couple companies ago. But yeah, everyone tracks speed now, and it's all the computers are a lot more advanced. So we can't play around like that anymore. See that? See how long this hill? How long this hill is? Okay, you're so blue. Utah vapor ban ahead. Last chance to purchase vapes in Evanston. Well, I didn't know they were banned in Utah. No, I don't like buying them out here anyways. They're too expensive. Everyone wants like 30, 40 bucks for one, which is insane. And then next to my house in Tennessee, they was selling for like 20 bucks. There's one place that sells a box of 5 of them for 100. That's a good deal. They say this winter's supposed to be really bad, but they say about a lot of winters, so we'll see what happens. We'll be there for it. I hope I only get stuck in a couple blizzards this year. None of them are historic. Historic blizzards are the worst. A few years ago, I was in West Memphis, Tennessee, and got absolutely destroyed there. They had that historic double blizzard, you know, the one that shut down Texas, froze over all the power lines, hurt a bunch of folks, and then I think they were charging like $1,000 a megawatt or something like that. Insanity. But anyways, that swept through the whole South, and I was right in that path. I remember it, man. It was up past the lug nuts on my tires, the top ones, right below my kneecaps. It was insanity. I was there for so long. I think I was stuck there for 5 days, because you had one that came through, closed everything down, and then they cleared it up. Everyone went back on the road. Then another one hit. And I just hung tight. I stayed there so long, I idled away a whole tank of fuel, 100 gallons of fuel, and had to go refuel at that place. That was something else. They ran out of food. They ran out of good food and good drinks, good sodas, in the first 2 days. Because the whole lot was full of truckers, and we ate them out of house and home. And then they ran out of bad food and bad sodas by the 5th day. They were just bone dry. And it was shortly after that I started loading up on canned food and gallons of water pretty much all the time, just because I never wanted to go through that again. Shoot, I'm on that Wegovy stuff now, so I'm never actually hungry. So I think I can last quite a few days to be comfortable, even without food and water. But I don't want it. Salt Lake's in 81 miles. My stop's in 87. Now we're headed to West Valley City. I lived there for a few months, a long time ago. I was 17 to 18. I went to the Job Corps Training Center there, the government program for disenfranchised kids, young men and women. I remember that. You know, they offer to give you really good trades: plumbing, electrician, diesel mechanic, even IT. They had all that stuff. Hazardous material handling, all that stuff. I went into the cooking program because that's where all the pretty ladies were. But hey, it all worked out. But man, what a different life it would have been if I would have taken those plumbing classes, huh? The strongest structure. Invented by Buckminster Fuller. You know, the only reason why I know that is because I read the Hard Magic series by Larry Correia. That is a great series. 3-book trilogy, phenomenal. Set way back in the day, and it's like a noir. It's a noir, but they have magic and stuff. It's so gritty and cool, man. It's so cool. Jake Sullivan. If you get a chance and you like reading, you like that kind of stuff, go check out Hard Magic by Larry Correia with the C. With the C. Personally, I think that was his best series. He did his Monster Hunter International. That's pretty fun too, but not as cool or as fun as Hard Magic was. We're 6,860 feet above sea level. driving these roads a long time ago, and some butthead, he had his high beams on, and it was right in my eyes. So I started flashing, as you do, a little bit of revenge. And then he turned his high beams on, and it turns out I was high beaming a freight train, and those were his low beams. And his high beams made you see God. It's like a flashbang went off. It went from night to day. Learned my lesson that day. To look away after flashing someone with your high beams. You always look away. They always return the favor. What's that car doing in here? Oh, the coupe's full. Pulling folks in. Made it past the scale house. We're in for a little bit of a treat. These mountains coming up here are pretty cool. I mean, these mountains are cool, but they get a lot cooler. Make it's pretty decent time. We're averaging about 60 miles an hour, and by about I mean we are averaging 60 miles an hour. It's not too shabby. See, that guy's living, renting an RV, and now he's cruising America. I think that's the way to do it, unless you see yourself doing it a whole bunch, because those things are not cheap. Neither are those camper vans. Here, they're near six figures finished. And every tradesman will hate you because you made trade vans super expensive, cargo vans. That's fun. But, yeah, those things, for the price of a well-made van conversion, you can get a pretty decent RV. 6 figures, a lot. Now for $60,000 more you can get a semi-truck for 60 grand. That's a good one too. You can get a cheaper semi-truck than one of those converted vans goes. Crazy. Insanity. It's a little chilly in here now. I'm going to turn it down. I went to trucking school up here. Central Refrigerated was my starter company. Yeah, I didn't go to trucking school or any of that because you had to go through their training program anyways, and they get you your CDL and all that nonsense. It's very fast-paced and honestly a little sketchy. But hey, got me a CDL at the ripe age of 21. You know, pretty good. Pretty good. Then I spent the next year or so going to downtown New York every week. It was horrible. Ran beer at a Miller Coors for 2 more years, and then Swift, that godforsaken company, they bought out Central Refrigerated because they were in the middle of some pretty harsh class action lawsuits. They were taking advantage of their owner-operators, or as they're called now, lease operators. Very predatory pay practices and withholding pay and shortchanging everyone they could. So they were about to lose the whole house. The guy that owned Swift, I think his name was Jerry Moline, and the lady that CEO'd over at Central was his daughter, I do believe, as the story goes. This is told to me by a bunch of truckers, so take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it was like Swift bought out Central, and then they had to pay out all those losses anyways. I mean, it's not like the lawsuits disappeared. I mean, each owner-op, my buddy James was an owner-op there for a few years, and they ended up giving him like 70 grand in mission wages. So that's a good chunk of change. He retired quite a few years ago, but yeah, he was pretty stoked about that. But I do believe Swift, those lawsuits bled out Swift pretty hardcore, and then Knight bought Swift. Now it's the Knight Swift Company. And I don't know what happened after that because I stopped caring. But yeah, I quit when Swift took over. They were doing a lot of nonsense. And I joined Creek Carrier 13 years ago, something like that. About 12, 13 years ago, I joined Creek. I've been with them ever since. Yeah, there's some nonsense at Creek, but the pay exceeds. There's a scale in your mind as a trucker, right? An old school scale, where one side is weighed against the other. One side goes up, one side goes down. So on one side, you have BS nonsense, and on the other side, you have pay. Now, I'm not talking just about the cents per mile or your layover, your detention, any of that. I'm talking about total take-home pay. What's in your bank account every week. Now, as long is the pay side of the scale is heavier than the BS nonsense side, you stick around. But as soon as the BS nonsense starts outweighing the pay, you get a new company. It's one of my favorite rest areas. Look at the views. This place is always full. If I can make it here, I like to overnight here and then roll into Salt Lake City for deliveries because you're so close. You're only like 50 miles away from Salt Lake City, right? If that, 40, 50 miles away. And look at the views you get to wake up to. You park over there to the right and you're facing that mountain there. And man, it's gorgeous. Nothing like waking up, cracking open a Monster and smoking a cigarette or whatever your vices are for the morning rituals. You know? Some people just scream. That's fine. Whatever wakes you up. Okay, yeah, so Ogden is to the north. So here's the game plan. I'm going to post this video of me going down to West Valley, and then I got a live load in Ogden, which is north of Salt Lake City, at 1 p.m. So I'll get that done, and on the way back, I got to take that 84 east to come back here, and I'll record from where I got loaded to that rest area on the other side. That's the game plan, just so you guys can see both mountain passes. So this will be part one, a much longer part one. And part two will be the 84 mountain pass, which is also really cool. These are both really cool. All right, buckle up. Here comes the mountains. We're in the mountains, but here comes the mountains. Here they come. Yes, yes. It's a big old dam right there. You know? I got a lot of damn questions about that place. There might be no dumb questions, but there are some damn questions. Man out there wakeboarding off the back of a pretty nice looking boat, actually. You know what? That was fun. I just know I would get hurt doing that. One, I've never done it. Two, I'm fat. I'm really fat and out of shape. And three, I just know I'd become like a skipping stone. I definitely do not have the acrobatics to pull that off. The agility, the dexterity. I would get hurt. But it does look fun. Yeah, these Utah folks know how to live, man. It's a beautiful lake. If you're ever coming out this way, I highly suggest you hit every view area, man. They're all worth it. There's one that shows you the double slide. That one's pretty cool. I dictates on the 84. I don't remember. We're gonna find out together. I think this view area is for the mountain lake here. I don't even know this lake's name. Those aren't just good cows, they're outstanding in their field. It's good. It's good so far. Finish it up. It's gonna be pretty. All right. It's enough of this guy. It's enough of this guy. We'll only pass him at like 61-ish. Because the truck speed limit's 55 through here. So, when did they change that? It used to be 70 all throughout here. Must have been a few too many accidents. But we'll pass it. And we're going to do that thing that I hate people do to me is you pass them and slow down because the curves are tight. Yeah, sign back there said tight turns. It's a mile an hour turn. So what we're going to do, we're going to ease it down. You can pass me again if you owns, but there ain't much to it. Now, as I said earlier, I learned how to drive over here in West Valley City area as well. It's funny how things keep coming back full circle on you in life. I went to school there when I was younger, and I went to school there when I was a little older, and now I'm back delivering freight. But these are the roads I learned how to drive on. These are the roads they take you up and teach you how to, downshift, upshift, mountain driving, sharp turn, all of that stuff. There's a section of road up here that all the trucking places use, and we call it Rookie Road. And let me tell you, you don't want to be a car on that road because there's a lot of young truckers, newer truckers, missing gears, grinding gears on there. They're just learn how to double clutch. Hearing the older truckers talk about floating the gears. I don't even touch the clutch, I float it. You're like, what's floating? Like, you can't even figure out double clutch. You need to figure that out before you worry about floating. taking the 84 north of here back over. And that road construction or accident on her. Well, I won't find out. Hey, the truck speed limit's over. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. We believe this is Park City coming up here. Pretty nice little place. No, it's Provo. Okay. Heber and Provo. Now, Provo, South American Fork. Pretty sure this is Park City. Coming up. It's about 20 miles away from downtown, but you're up in the mountains. Get away from it all. Taking Provo Canyon might have been a cool ride. I don't think I ever took to one. I don't ever took to 40. Provo. Interesting. Look how built up this place is. That's a cool little car he's hauling. Let's take a look at it. I'm not a car guy, so I don't know who that is. But I know someone has put a lot of money into it and will continue to do so. Back in the slow lane. Hey, you got folks dang near the top of the mountain up there. Let's see buildings. I don't know if that's utility up there or it couldn't have been cheap to build up there. One advantage, I guess, building mountaintop this close to Salt Lake is you got easy access to reputable tradesmen. But man, look at all that. perspective, we slow. Everyone collectively in this sentence. Have to do this all by hand. You had to pick the right gear, stay in it, and just as needed. But in these newer trucks, you just put your jakes all the way on, set your cruise control to where you need it to be, and it'll stick it. And if you have it at the right speed, the right weight, it'll stay at that speed all the way down the mountain without you touching nothing. It's pretty cool. A lot of truckers out here will talk nonsense, just in general, but they'll talk nonsense about automatics or manual. It doesn't matter, man. None of that matters. It matters about driving safe and getting them miles in. That's about it. Staying out of trouble. These roads are easy. You can maintain 65 all the way down. Loaded, as you can tell, it's a different proposition. pretty successful. Look at all them folks golfing. That man just came down the road the wrong way to take this exit. That's crazy. Only 3% grade. Off and keep on keeping on. exciting. And everything is on schedule right now for me, so I'm preparing for some BS to happen, you know? Things go too well, go to plan exactly, it gets suspicious. Yeah, this load's an all-day drop, but that's not the problem. It's the pickup at 1300. I'll get out of there probably by 11:40ish and head up to Ogden, which is only an hour north. In the valley. Look at this stuff. Look at that. Jeez. Jeez.